everybody, this is Erric Worre, and welcome to networkmarketingpro.com. And I tell you, this week we've got a special treat for you because we have yet another of our interview series with the $1 million earners a year or more. And this gentleman is a gentleman by the name of Kenton Worthington. He earns about $1.5 million a year. He's 34 years old. And he is an absolute joy to spend time with. I had an opportunity to spend a weekend with him recently. You're making over $1 million a year now. Have this amazing lifestyle. Live in your dream house and drive your dream cars, and part owner of a jet that flies around the country and around the world. What makes you so special? A lot of people that are watching this, they work hard. They want this. They really want to make it happen. What are you, and most of them are convinced that you have some secret that they haven't been told. So tell them. Let's release the secret finally. What is the difference between you, $1 million plus, and somebody who's making not that kind of money? What's the difference?
The hairdo.
Stop.
I had to say it. I had to say it. I just absolutely had to say it. So many people said. I thought, man, with my personality, I'm a little bit cutting. I'm always on the edge. I always do something wrong. I was a guy. If the stop sign's there, I drive right through it. So, if there was something that's a secret, it's that the information's already there. That was.
But that didn't make you different.
Yeah, no, I don't know that it makes me different.
Why are you different than somebody that's making $10,000 a year?
I have a different vehicle.
It's not the company, because people inside your company are making $10,000 a year. So what's the difference between you at $1 million plus and somebody who's making $10,000?
Well, the way my dad put it to me early on, this is a principle, is that you cannot rob the law. And that means that for every blessing or everything that you want in your life, there is a set of rules or sacrifices or a price that has to be paid for that blessing or benefit. And that means that the reason I'm where I'm at is because I've paid that price. The reason I have the physical ability that I have is because I paid the price along the way. The reason I'm where I'm at in my life financially is because there was a set of rules and laws. I don't know if that's how I think about it, that I was able to be obedient to, learn what they were, and I paid the price along the way so that I could benefit from that.
So what are those laws?
Oh, there's so many. Law of sacrifice, for one.
The law of sacrifice. So in other words, you have to put in the work.
Absolutely. You can't, my dad said, you don't get anywhere without work. But I understood early on, my dad was a workaholic, really workaholic, but on the other side of the equal sign for wealth, there was a bunch of other things in between. Not just work equaled wealth. So work was there, for sure.
Yeah.
Sacrifice was there. The ability to learn and develop myself as a human being, surrounding myself with good people. Jim Rohn put it this way: you become the average of your 5 closest friends. My dad said this: show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Mm-hmm. All of these things along the way. Looking back over 14 years nearly, it's hard for me to just give you one thing. There isn't one thing. Right. There's so many moments that changed my life, but all of those things that I just mentioned really come into play when I realized the difference of where I am today and the people that I surrounded myself with 15, 20 years ago that I grew up with.
Let me tell you some of the things that I've heard from some of the great leaders. Hard work.
Absolutely.
You put yourself to it. A rock-solid belief. And that's a big differentiator between the big earners and the lesser earners.
Well, if I could hear, certainty.
Certainty.
Level of certainty. Tony Robbins puts it this way. He said, if your level of certainty is just higher than the people that you're around, you will influence them. And so I teach somebody that they're brand new, they've just heard about our opportunity. Mm-hmm. I let them know they already have this much more certainty about their future than the people that are surrounding them. They don't need to be an expert about our business or everything, because you don't just get that overnight.
Right.
But their level of certainty is that much more, and they will influence. So that's very interesting. I've had that in my life as well.
If your belief is at a certain level, you start to attract. If your belief is below that level, it's work to attract anything. If it's at that level, it's actually natural.
Yeah, it just happens.
I'm a huge fan of defining moments. These moments where you hit a crossroad and bang, you have to go right or left. Something happens, something triggers, and everything changes, and it alters the course of your life. You know, and I'm sure you've had dozens of them over the course of your life. And the thing about defining moments is you don't know that they're a defining moment until afterwards. You know, afterwards you look back and say, well, that changed everything. That little defining moment changed everything. And when I talked to Nathan, and I know you work with Nathan, one of his defining moments, he went to a friend and he squirted the bottle and tripped through the thing, and he got mad and he said, you know what? No, you're wrong. I'm not going to let you rob me of my dream. And that was a defining moment for him. I know as I'm describing this, there's probably one that triggered into your brain.
Yeah.
What is that defining moment? Share that with everybody, if you will.
Well, there's actually multiple that went through my brain. You asked me this yesterday, and thank you again for the gift of being able to spend time with you.
That was fun.
Unbelievable, you guys. Anyway, we'll talk about that more, I'm sure, another time. Huge blessing in my life to be able to be around people like Erric.
Nice.
And I hope that you'll come on the journey with us. You never know, we'll meet you someday and be masterminding with you. For me, Erric, I think I know this. There have been multiple, and I could talk about them. But the one that really changed everything for me in my career with this industry was the day that I realized it was not really about me. I'm big on personal responsibility, network. It didn't work for me. Of course, you didn't work for it. All of those things, okay? But what I realized is that when it was more about the person that put their trust and integrity and their good name into my care, everything changed. I'll tell you a fast story.
Yeah,
I have a friend.
What created that? Yeah.
I called somebody from Eastern Europe. I had served a mission there, church service mission. I lived there for 2 years. This guy had made, he was an entrepreneur, but in his best year he was able to make a couple $1,000.
Wow.
Getting his family out of the country. I called him and I told him that I'd found what we'd looked for our entire lives that we could do together. You don't just open up a business with a high barrier of entry and huge risk and bank loans and everything in the rest of the world. And the greatest country in the world is still hard here for entrepreneurial ventures. He trusted me, sells everything. His wife, who's pregnant, 2 kids, they moved to New Zealand, and he comes to the U.S. because the family couldn't get visas. And he was here for 6 months, and he was going to everything. I knew what to put him through to help him have the experiences to learn, meeting the right people, being around the right things. And he just was not having any success. And I remember I was in Orange, California, and I got an email from him, and he was not complaining in any way. He just reminded me that I'd made a commitment to him, that he trusted me with his life and his family. And he said, I haven't made any money here, we're not having success. And I just think maybe I need to go home and find something else to do. And anyway, my life changed at that moment. Something changed inside me that'll never be the same again. He's today my highest paid distributor in the world. And we went back to Hungary, and Hungary became the #1 producing market for our company in short order, which is a small country, and in all of big Europe. And his life's never been the same again. That moment changed everything when I really realized that if I'd forget myself and serve other people, that was the secret for me.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well,
that was a defining moment.
Yeah, I guess. What a lesson, because so many people, they treat that new prospect, that new distributor, like a prize. Like they went out hunting and they got one. Boom, I got one. They hold it up as a trophy. They bring it to the meetings and they hold it up and they look what I got. I got this thing. And then they yell at it, and then they tell it to go to work, and they tell it to come on, get off your butt.
Why are you doing this?
Where's your belief?
Oh yeah.
But when the transition happened, I've seen it with all the greats. When the transition happens, when you really invest in another human being, you look them in the eye, and you say, you know what? We're going to make this thing go. We're going to make this thing work. That changes everything. What was his breakthrough?
his
What was it?
personal.
Yeah, he went from not having success to being your number one guy.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, he was always working, was doing the right things. That's sometimes frustrating for us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing everything you told me, right?
And it's not
Well,
doing.
no, it wasn't. He wasn't tuned in, right? We know that. To me,
It's not just about the actions. It's
right.
how you do the actions. It's not about we could hire robots to do this stuff, but there needs to come some spirit and passion and heart and soul into what you're doing, and then the results all of a sudden change.
So true. And I'm not really big on teaching technique.
Yeah.
Because I already know that if you invited your best 5 friends to go to the movies with you, they're coming.
Right.
Right? And if they don't show up, you're not devastated.
Right.
You don't cry about it. So once it gets tuned in, and I like to use that because the wavelength, once it gets tuned in and people start communicating, everything changes. So the invitation is different. The way you write your goals are different. The way that you present the business is different. The way you follow up. That was for him. I think maybe that moment was defining for both of us. He felt the desperation. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a lot of pain there. He also felt a lot of support from the team that he was with. And we made a decision. It was really that defining moment concerning all acts of... Anyway.
All acts of what?
Initiative and creation. I'm feeling really emotional. I haven't felt
good,
this emotion
it's
for
good.
so long. I've had just an unbelievable weekend with Erric.
Yeah.
We're impacting the world.
It's a spiritual time. I'm telling you. We're actually here at the Starkey offices at the moment. So we're looking through all this stuff, and we just had this amazing experience. But anyway, so what he went through, and when I tell you what this guy stepped up and was able to do because of the gift of network marketing, you're going to be amazed. But so anyway, spirit and initiative.
Anyway, so concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is but one elementary truth, and that is that the very moment that one definitely commits oneself, then and only then, all sorts of things begin to occur, which otherwise would have never occurred, and which no man or woman would have ever dreamt possible.
Say that again.
Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is but one elementary truth, and that is that the very moment that one definitely commits oneself, then and only then, all sorts of things begin to occur which otherwise would have never occurred, and which no man or woman would have ever dreamt possible.
So let me ask you this. Are you saying it's possible for the people watching right now to have that moment and their business will change just like that?
Yes, I am saying that.
So if they truly and totally, and rewind this program and listen to what he said again, if they truly decide, then the decision is enough.
Yeah, it is.
Then everything else will
else falls in. It's almost like hitting that domino piece. Because, when you decide, then you're active, and you're reading, and you're working harder on yourself, and you're serving other people. You're going to the meetings, you're using the tools, and you're doing all of these things that we look at as, hey, this is the technique. I mean, we actually work for a living. There's a real workflow.
Right.
But all of those things just fall into line. That's what happened for Cotaway. Started making different phone calls. We stopped. The company was telling us, no, we're not going to Hungary. And all of a sudden they're saying, wow, we better go to Hungary, because we'd made a decision. They came in after us.
Yeah.
This is one of the first times that had happened, in a decade in our company. That was an older company. And within 12 months, we were the number one producing market. Just unheard of. It was like a miracle. People are like, what's happened? Man, Hungary's got to be some secret place. No. It was here in my heart, my mind, and my leaders and our team. I didn't do it myself, but it's like Joan of Arc, and she said, I'm not going over the wall. I'm not going to look behind me to see who's following me. I'm going. You don't understand. The minute you do that, somebody said people are just waiting for a leader to stand up. They just are waiting for someone to have the courage to be themselves and to make a decision and take a risk and be who they are and move forward for their dreams. I didn't realize I could be that person that could make that decision. I was waiting for someone else.
And then now your life becomes about helping other people, if they choose to.
Yes.
Make the decision for themselves.
Right. Because we can't. We want to. How many times have we done it?
Help them to guide them to it, right?
Yeah. So many times I've wanted it more for them
Yeah.
than I knew they wanted it for themselves. And I
Yeah.
learned from Nathan, you have to be careful about whom you spend your time with.
Yeah.
Those are the hard days when I know they're just not willing to do it for themselves. And we have to be led to the people that are ready, and we'll
Right.
work with them. That's kind of how I'm at, where I'm
Right.
at now in my career.
Everybody here wants to become network marketing professionals. They
should.
They want to develop themselves to the highest level. Give them some closing comments on if they were coming to you, how do I become a network marketing professional? What should I do? Share with them whatever you would share with them.
Well, my best advice is what I'd tell my best friend. First of all, you want to surround yourself with the kind of people that the first and most important thing for them is integrity. I believe that this is an industry of influence, and I believe you only command influence through integrity. And that means that you find a company, a product line, a group of people that live the way that they say they live. They do what they say they will do. They're people like you, and like I hope that I will be remembered as. If there's one thing I want anyone to remember, ever know about me, and that I was a man of integrity. And if you can do that, if you can live that way, then you'll influence people. And that's the kind of group that you want to find. I know there'd probably be a lot of techniques that people might want to hear, but trust me, those are the things, that's the most important thing to me. Trust and integrity. And if you can find that and you can build that within yourself, then you'll be successful at anything you do. And I hope you will come along this journey. There's not a better lifestyle on the planet that I know of, but
Yeah, it's the best.
Anyway.
All right, well, Kenton,
thank you.
I appreciate you so much, my friend. I hope you've enjoyed this interview. But here from Minneapolis, Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional. You decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody have a great day.